All right, Corbin Carroll versus Luis Arraez. Why do I want to do this swing comparison? Well, a couple reasons. For one, it shows the characteristics that you'll see in the better pound for pound hitters in Corbin Carroll. And then it shows Corbin Carroll against the hitter who's considered the best slap hitter, basically, of our era. And many people consider the best hitter right now. We are way too quick to emphasize consistency in baseball. This is just in our culture. And people are brainwashed basically into believing that consistency is far more valuable than power. And so this has kind of leaked into the instructional culture as well. So the primary swing that's taught, whether people realize it or not, the swing that's being taught is a slappy swing. You don't want to design your swing to be slappy because it puts a low ceiling on your potential. This is a perfect example. Here's a guy who's 165 in Corbin Carroll. He weighs 165. That's an extremely small man, especially in terms of a Major League Baseball player. That's probably 50 pounds less than the average. Yet he hits home runs at a pretty good pace. Compare him to the greatest consistency hitter of our time, and he's just as valuable. If we go by OPS plus, which is really the best measurement for just figuring out a hitter's overall value, consistency and power, Corbin Carroll's at a 134. Luis Arraez is at a 133. It doesn't pay to just try to go for that high consistency. It's just like it's not a good bang for your buck sort of avenue to take. Much easier to go for power. Corbin Carroll was able to jog around the bases. You know, that's a much easier way to go about it than getting on first base and having to slide back into first base or slide into second base and then rounding third and maybe a collision at home plate. I mean, these are all things it just makes it a much harder road. And you have to go up there and swing. You might as well put the swing on it that's going to give you the most bang for your buck. You know, produce the most possible power. And consistency is something that you can improve in other avenues. I think pitch recognition is probably the best way. You can improve your hand-eye coordination. You can change your approach in some way to improve consistency. You can study pitchers. There are other ways to ensure placing the barrel on the ball a little bit better. But to put a ceiling on the power potential by making your swing slappy is just not worth it. The evidence just points to it's not worth it to do that. The quintessential piece when it comes to swing mechanics is power. For sure, you want to optimize the amount of force that you're delivering into the ball on a consistent basis. But you can see as he goes forward, look at the dropping action of the barrel as he gets front humerus compression. It means that the wave of energy is moving up your body. It's reached your shoulder area. There's not a lot of exertion in your arms, particularly your back arm. That's the key one. But there's not a lot of exertion in either arm. And so what happens is they go into free fall. As you go forward, they kind of align with the beginning rotation of your body. What's taught today is this hands inside the ball, but it's basically skipping this link in the chain. It's moving up your hips and skipping your whole upper torso. Basically, it's going into your upper torso and arms at the same time because they're rotating, and look at how the arms are coming with it. Instead of, as you're rotating open, you're getting more of this action where the arm is in free fall, the barrel is dropping flat, and you get a little bit of that front humerus compression. Does your front arm have to be ramrod straight? No. The straightness of the front arm is just communicating something to us. Usually people, if they're in the right swing structure, want to have a straighter front arm. It's just communicating that there is this slotting action of the arms going on. It's more of there's more influence of what the front arm would do all on its own than this heavily back arm dominated exertion, arm controlled swing that's taught today. So even if you have a well bent back or a front arm, you still want to have that same general movement where you get a little bit of front humerus compression. Maybe it's not a ton, but it's at least a little bit more as my barrel drops. That's the key. It's just got to be some. You guys don't have to chase these positions and make your swing into something awkward. That's not the point. The point is to simply stop back arm overexertion. When you do that, you will find the right structure of your swing. Yes, you will drag the hands more. Yes, you will drag the barrel more at the start of the forward swing. Get it out of your mind that these are bad things. It's only gonna delay your progress. Here you can see Corbin Carroll is getting a lot of that. He's dragging the hands. The barrel has flattened quite a bit. Now, if we just remember this positioning here, look at the difference here. There's not a lot of front humerus compression going on at the start of his swing. Basically, when his torso starts to open, his front arm just kind of goes with it. I'd speak in terms of the front arm, but both arms, for the most part, just go with it. This wave of energy is basically moving up the body, and his arms are just kind of firing out at the same basic time that his shoulders are. And his hands are taking more of a straight line. Now, having said this, you cannot hit well in the major leagues without a lot of what I call body controlled or front arm dominant action. So even Luis Arraez is very much in line with what I teach in many ways. But we're just contrasting someone in Corbin Carroll who has more of what I like to see against Luis Arraez, who has just a little bit less. The hands fire out a little bit more. Notice how the barrel's kind of lagging behind a little bit more, and he probably has a tendency to go the other way. This is an avenue that you can exploit in hitting. Like I said, slap hitting is an avenue you can take. I just argue that it's not the wise approach. Not a lot of flip in the swing. I mean, look how in line his back arm is with the bat. This tells me there's not a lot of flip in that swing. And we can talk lower body. Yes, he cuts himself off, a source of lost power. Unbelievable hitter. But I still think, he's 10 pounds heavier than Corbin Carroll. Basically, he's just as valuable going by OPS plus. Why not, maybe he wouldn't decrease in any of his consistency if he had more of this body-controlled action at the start of his forward swing. Maybe he would only increase his power substantially, or maybe he would increase his power enough that any decrease in consistency wouldn't really matter. I mean, we're talking like maybe, what if he just dropped 10 points in his batting average, but increased his home run production by 10 or 15? This would be that would be a trade that would be well worth it. So let's go back to Corbin Carroll. So you can see at contact, again, well connected, but just like most hitters today who are no doubt working on the conventional stuff, it's a little bit more kind of exerted at contact than I'd like to see. I'd like to see, a little bit more relaxation in the arms. But having said that, look how connected he is at contact. That's really the key. His back arm, while maybe a little bit more tense than I'd like to see that back elbow be a little bit more relaxed and by his side, closer to his back pocket, and his front arm a little bit more compressed up against the body. But beautiful positioning, and positioning that's going to deliver a lot of force into the ball. Here's another swing of his when he was could be college. There you can see the start of the forward swing. Gets quite a bit of length in the front arm. And barrel drops quite a bit. The hands are trailing. That's the key move that is missing so much from today's swing. The arms are fairly loose. The back arm particularly. It's usually the back arm that likes to screw things up because it's usually our stronger arm. It's the one that's behind and it likes to push forward. When it does this, every amount that it pushes forward, it decreases the amount of your body you can use in it. When the back arm pushes out, your body has to hang back in some way or slow down in some way. And this is not a good thing. It doesn't create a good structure. So he's kind of dragging the hands behind him at the start. This has been a bad word in baseball swing instruction, dragging, but it's not a bad thing. And you can see that the flatness of the barrel, along with the fact that the hands are dragging, is the key. This is why Richard Skank's method isn't optimal. I mean, it's good that they're flattening out, but they don't get this. They don't understand that the move happens because the barrel is basically aligning with the rotation of the torso. And what allows this to happen is a back arm that's not overexerting. And that's a key distinguishing element between what I teach and what Richard Skank teaches. His method will work with some hitters. It's just not optimal. It's better to know exactly what's going on in the top pound-for-pound hitters, exactly why this slotting action of the bat actually happens. If you know exactly why it happens, then you can easily recreate it. It's not hard at all. So, again, as we go to Arraez, you can see just that box that people teach, keeping that box intact, the arm over here and then the shoulders, this box, keeping that intact is one of the poor teachings of today. Missed that. Let's see. Let's go back. So here he is in probably, looks like before he made the major leagues. So he's in the Twins organization, but in the minor leagues or spring training, rookie ball, something like that. And again, you can see if he would just get a little bit less tight in the arms and get a little bit more hand depth, meaning hands a little bit more in the direction of behind him, as your torso is rotating, you get a little bit more of this front humerus compression. It doesn't need to be, it's probably going to feel very different to him, but on video, it would be almost undetectable. It would just be a little bit more hand depth than what you're seeing here is all he needs. The barrel is going to be quite a bit more flat. That's something that's going to be very obvious because just a little bit of movement in your hands is going to drastically affect the flatness of the barrel. So we would see quite a bit more flattening out action of the barrel at this point. But here you can see, again, very, very much nails the positioning through contact in that he doesn't really exert. From right here, he could just extend out that back arm, throw the hands directly towards the pitcher, which is what is taught, by the way, today. But instead, he kind of, from here, he rotates into contact and achieves a nice, well-connected position. There you can see. Rotates into contact and rotates through contact. Corbin Carroll beats Luis Arraez. But we're still talking about, obviously, great hitters nonetheless. But you look at Corbin Carroll, weighs 10 pounds less, is equally valuable hitter, and does so in a much smoother and more energy efficient way of just hitting the ball with more force. So thank you guys for watching. Check out my website, theswingmechanic.com. My new book, Swing Like Griffey. I appreciate everyone's support, and I'll see you next time.